Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I thought we would go over a topic which I kind of like doing when it comes to the new updates, kind of covering certain ranks of new tech trees. And since yesterday I finished spading the whole of the rank 4 of Israel, I thought why not dab into it and talk about each of the vehicles. As I said before, instead of doing individual vehicle reviews, since a lot of these have already covered in other tech trees, it's more based around lineups and how you can do that. So just to give you kind of a idea of where I'm at with the tech tree. So last night I just finished researching the MAGAC 6. Understand that because I'm a CC, this was given to me spaded. This is going to be unspaded pretty soon so we can play it. Same with these ones. So that's why it's spaded. I haven't actually touched this one yet. And then we've been playing the Zaclam Tiger. It's not very good, but doing slightly better than I thought we would, and finished off these vehicles here. So overall, not too bad. By the way, make sure to turn off your auto repair. Even on vehicles with low crew skills, it does save you SL. So you can see here the max repair cost for these Zaclam Tiger is 5,236, and we pay 4,913. So we've saved ourselves 300 SL just by going to bed. And then the shot, 6,867, 5,968. So we've saved ourselves around about 900 SL just by, going to bed. So just to give you an idea of how this all works. So make sure to click this button off if you want to save some SL. So overall, I would say the grind for rank 4 wasn't too bad. There's a lot of vehicles here that I really liked. There isn't many which I would say were rough, only really a few stock configurations. I actually made some SL while grinding through them, surprisingly enough. But starting off with the M51, we did a review on it a few days ago. I think it's a pretty decent vehicle. It's one which has a very punchy gun. It's lacking mobility and lacking in some other traits, and really needs a good crew to make it fully usable, because its vertical speed is incredibly slow and its turret is very, very bouncy trying to get its gun is very bouncy in the vertical, trying to get it on target, so that's a bit of a problem. Wish I had a 50 cal on it instead of a 30, but overall it isn't that bad, and also at the same time, it's nice that they give you 3 respawns for it. The troubles start getting there when it comes to the next set. So I decided to research up different BRs. So basically research the next BR. So I went 6.7, 7.0, 7.3, these two 7.3s, and then I went for the Zaclam, then I went for the MAGAC 6. So I'm just researching, incrementally up the BR sets. And when I got the AMX13, basically I had an AMX13 and an M51. So we got into stuff like 7.7 matches, and I had the M51 along with the AMX13. Now the AMX13's gun already isn't that great, but it can still scout and it can still maneuver, and it's a really good vehicle. It's got the really nice autoloader on it. It works incredibly well, but the M51, since you're dragging it up in BR, definitely struggles a little bit more. But luckily, because of its main asset being its gun, it can still get up tiered quite effectively. You still fight targets at 7.7 that you can still penetrate. So there's only a few that you struggle against, stuff like the M103, IS-4M, and even the Conqueror. But most of the times, as Israel, if not all the time, you get put on the American teams, so you don't face many of the big heavies. You just got to watch out for stuff like the IS-4s. Everything else you can pretty much pen with this gun. So up-tiering it with this isn't too bad. You just got to worry about the mobility of the vehicle itself. And after playing the AMX13, I did pretty well in it. We went 50 kills and 26 deaths, including a nuke in here, 51% win rate, and you can see with the M51, which is the standard tech tree one, we went positive in. AML90 was the next one that we played, once again went positive in. I'd say the AML90 was probably my funnest experience in this tech tree. There's just something really nice about this little car. You just kind of run around and do a ton of damage. I put the Maxim on it in the UHG just to give us a look at least of extra firepower, even though there wasn't any. But the gun is super punchy, and one thing I've got to say about all these vehicles so far, obviously the MX-13 has an upgraded round, but its standard round is very good. Out of these three vehicles, you actually get the stock round is the best round that you get, so you don't have to unlock better rounds, which is really nice for the vehicles themselves. And since the ML90, the MX-13 gets scouting, it's easier to get into planes, which is nice, even though you've got none to spawn. Overall, it's a really fun experience to play this little machine and just to kind of have a bit of fun with it. So I had a great time in this thing. I really enjoyed it in the French tech tree. I really enjoyed it in the British tech tree. The only problem with this vehicle is the fact that it has a really wonky lineup. So you've got the ML90, the MX-13, which I suppose is fine, and then your third vehicle is the M51. It would be much better to have like another 7.0 vehicle. And another problem with all these lineups is the planes that you have access to. So the jets for Israel start at 7.7. You have the Oregon and also the Meteor NF-13, and this thing wouldn't actually be that bad to run with lineups. You got the 2-1000s. It's kind of like you could use it like you do a Sabre in the American tech tree. The Meteor NF-13 is useless because it doesn't have any ground ordnance, but until you get to 7.7, so until you research the whole of rank 4 and get into rank 5 with the M60 or the Magak 6, then you have to use either Wiseman's Spitfire, or you have to use the Spitfire Mark 9 or the P51 D20NA. So you're going up against ME262s, you're going up against Cerados, you're going up against all of these different vehicles in these vehicles here. So it's really rough. It would be really nice if Israel got a 7.3 vehicle, or if one of these vehicles got moved down to 7.3 so you could have it in your lineup. One of the reasons why I said like the only reason to play the Israeli aviation tree, because it's pretty rough overall in my opinion. It's got slightly better with a few changes that they've made, such as the strike aircraft losing their air spawn. That gives the Votors a little bit more use, but it does kind of annihilate these three apart from the A4N. But one of the reasons to research all of this is to actually use them in ground. And since you've already passed rank 4 and you haven't really been able to use any of them, it's a bit of a problem. So it doesn't really match up too well. I think it would have been much nicer if Israel got some kind of 7.0 or 7.3 aircraft that it could run with the majority of these lineups. So overall, this lineup was okay. It was just a bit rough. And then we get into some powerhouses. So the shot is a Centurion. It's basically a Mark III. It's a fantastic vehicle. It's one which was, funny enough, when it was like in the British tech tree with the Canav and everything, was 6.7. It got boosted up to 7.0 and now 7.3. It still does fantastic at 7.3. This is the staple in the lineup. You can see, for me, I've gone 2-1 in it, 50% win rate, but overall my win rates have been pretty low, especially with the Magaks. They've got better over time since I've been getting more and more kills in them. But you can see with the shot, we're averaging, 2-1 KD, nearly 1.5-1 kills per match, and that's also using it sometimes as a second or third vehicle to the Magaks. So overall, it's just a fantastic vehicle. The stabilizer combo with the APDS is really nice. You can punch through pretty much anything, even stuff like Mardas you can punch through the front of. Pumas, which have been one of the biggest issues. It's just a really good vehicle. It works really well when it's spaded. When it's not spaded, it's a little bit slow. The engine upgrade and transmission and tracks are really needed on this thing to actually be fully combat effective. The smoke grenades as well are quite a nice little touch on it. But overall, it's probably the best 7.3 Centurion, and the reason is because it has a 50 cal on it, and that 50 cal can be used to take out planes, or it can be used to take out other stuff. So for me, that's why I like this thing a lot. It doesn't have a ton of armor on it, but because you have that stabilizer, you can always get that first shot off. If you need to kill any of these, just shoot it like you do a leopard. So just shoot this area here, because the first stage that it has is only 8 pieces. So it's in here, in the center. So most people are going to have extra ammo at the bottom of here. So just make sure to shoot there. The thing will go pop. It's not too hard to deal with. And then we go on to the Magaks. So the Magaks are annoying, is probably the way to put them, because they have so much potential, and eventually you turn them around. So one of the things... you can see here that I'm basically plus 20 in both of them, and these win rates were around about 25%, and they've increased by 10% since I got them mostly upgraded. But one of the things that the Magaks suffer from, since they are M48s, is the same issue that you see in pretty much all of the top tier MBTs that have heat FS. So, for example, when I was spading my M1A1, I haven't finished it yet, but it's pretty close. So this M1A1 right here, I was minus 10 or minus 15. No, I was even worse than that. I was minus 25 before getting the APF SDS. Because on this vehicle, on the M1A1, the APF SDS is a rank 3 modification. So I just got beaten up for many games over and over and over again, especially since this thing gets a lot of 11-0 matchmaking. But once I got that APF SDS, we started rocking and we started killing stuff. And you can see now, if we have a look at my M1A1 stats, wherever they are, they're probably on the second page actually. The M1A1 is doing way better than it was before, and this is one of the issues. Here we go. So now I'm like plus 50 in the vehicle. So we had a swing of minus 25 to plus 50 when it comes to the KD, and the win rate has increased by about 5% from there as well, because we're just getting more kills and we're able to play the positions better. And this is one of the problems that top tier vehicles have, because they are so much worse in their stock configuration than they are in their full configuration. The Magaks have exactly the same problem when it comes to them. So the Magak 1 has stock APCR. The Magak 2 also has stock APCR. And until you get the M82 shot, and then eventually the heat FS shot, you don't do damage to a lot of vehicles. And since these things are 7.3 right now, and there is stuff such as Pumas running around at 8.3, and you face them a lot, by the way, because that BR bracket is very strong at the moment. That'll probably change in the future. You can't do a lot of damage to anything. So you end up going minus 5, minus 10, depending on if you have premium or not, until you get the heat FS, and then you start, going. So to give you an idea, in my Magak 1, I was 10 and 10. Then I got the heat FS, we got lucky with a bunch of wins, and now we're plus 28. With the Magak 2, I was about 7 kills and 15 deaths, and now we're plus 20 in the vehicle after, getting it spaded. So these are just two vehicles where their modifications really matter quite a lot. Not just the heat FS, but also the mobility ones right here, and stuff such as the artillery support. The rangefinder is still too dependent on the crew, so it's not too useful. And since at this point, since basically we've started this tech tree in the center of it, my crew skills are terrible for the setup of vehicles that we have. I've been trying to focus, as you can see, on the bottom rungs here to try and get these done. So not too much worrying about survivability, just putting like extra points where I've had them so I don't forget about them. But you can see where I've been focusing, my general points, just to try and make them a little bit more usable, these vehicles. But The fact is they're nowhere near where they should be right now, because normally you research these things and you've already researched rank 1, 2, and 3, which is one of the problems with the Israeli tech tree in general. So the guns are a lot more bouncy and all of that. The M48's armor in general is actually pretty good. You know, it is quite survivable, mainly because it can tank a shot. And what I mean by that is you can get penned and not die. So a lot of people will shoot for the gunner commander, but even then, you know, you can still survive and still live. You know, because the first stage ammo is actually behind the loader and kind of hard to hit. Then, you know, if you don't take too much ammo, like you've got this first stage here and here. So this is generally where you shoot this thing, but most people go for here, which is kind of interesting. But generally, I've had a good time in them. It's just the first like 10 games are super rough because you have to get parts, you have to get FPE, you have to get the M82. Even though it pens less than the APCR, you got to get it to be able to do some damage with the round, and then you get the Heat FS to be able to do a little bit more damage with the vehicle. So basically with these I went parts, FPE, M82, suspension, Heat FS, filters, and then engine or elevation mechanism I think I needed to go for because you need 3. And then I went engine, artillery, tracks, transmission, and then the rest. That worked the best for me when it came to these vehicles. One thing to definitely look at, though, is elevation mechanism, mainly because a lot of these vehicles have really rough vertical gun speed. So this has 3.1 degrees per second. Also the shot also has 3.2. So it has the stabilizer, so it feels a little bit faster because you can fire on the move, but it's still pretty bad. So yeah, with bad cruise skills, getting mods like that is a godsend. Even though it doesn't help too much, it just helps that little bit that you may need. But yeah, Magax, the 1 and 2 are really good vehicles. Once you get through them. And once you get them half modded, like the M48s are nice. It's as simple as that. And I'm pretty much going at a rate where, while after spading and finishing a vehicle, I'm able to go on to the next one. So I haven't run into a point yet where I've got stuck on a vehicle and I've had to play it more than I have needed to when it's spaded in order to, play the next one. So we're technically like half a vehicle ahead right now because we're half spaded. There's a clam and we've already researched the Magac. So overall, this is really nice. When it comes to the actual spading experience. And most of this tech tree is MBTs, so it's going to feel nice. Like, it's not going to feel bad when it comes to it. But it's just, yeah, the main issue is crew skills right now, and also not having planes to be able to back up lineups. That's huge when it comes to the vehicles themselves. But I've been having a decent time. I can't complain. The only thing that's an issue is, of course, the Puma. So there's been 4 nukes against me in the last 3 days, and they've all been Pumas. Just sitting on cap points, shooting everything that comes near, and I've had to kill so many of them, or to be honest with you, that I can't kill them with stuff like Magax. I can kill them with the shot, because I can side shoot it through the road wheel, or I can shoot it in the gun and then low glacis it and hit the engine. So the APDS works pretty well against it. But stuff like the Magax, you can't, because of the fact that you have heat. So all you can really do is take out the ammo, so make it go pop, and then take out the engine and hope from there that you can burn it out. But at the same time, if they're sat on cap points, especially if they're hull down, then they can just sit there and just shoot all day and then reload if they want to. It's a really annoying vehicle. Hopefully it goes up soon, and hopefully it's dealt with. But apart from that, I'm not really afraid of anything in this thing. After playing the American ones, these ones are very similar, so they're not too bad. Anyway, as always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugen's Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.